Do you know what emotional manipulators never anticipate? It's not you getting angry and walking away. It's not you retaliating. It's not you yelling that you've had enough. What they never anticipate is that one day you'll stop needing them. It sounds simple, but that's what ruins their whole game. Most emotional manipulators don't control others through power. They control through dependence. They make you dependent on their praise, dependent on their approval, dependent on their mood. And the scary thing is, this process happens very slowly, so slowly that you don't even realize it's happening. Initially, they make you feel special. Then, they make you feel like you have to strive to maintain that feeling of specialness. And finally, you start living as a full-time employee in someone else's emotional management company. It sounds funny, but many people are doing that job every day without pay. They wake up and wonder if the other person is happy today. They talk and wonder if what they said will upset the other person. They make decisions and wonder if the other person will be disappointed. They spend so much time managing other people's emotions that they forget they also have feelings that need to be considered. This is where emotional manipulation comes into play. It doesn't come in obvious statements. It prefers to be more disguised. It prefers phrases like, "If you truly loved me, you wouldn't do this," or "I do everything for you, and this is how you treat me," or the classic phrase that almost everyone has heard at least once in their life, "You're changing." The funny thing is, sometimes you really are changing, and that's a good thing. But in the eyes of emotional manipulators, your change isn't the problem. The problem is they are gradually losing the control they once had. There's something interesting that psychology points out. People are very easily manipulated by feelings of guilt, because most of us want to be good, and manipulators understand this very well. They don't need to force you. They just need to make you feel like a bad person if you don't do what they want. This is why so many people get stuck in toxic relationships longer than necessary. Not because they are weak, but because they are highly empathetic. And ironically, that strength sometimes becomes their most exploited. They always try to understand others. Always try to see things from multiple perspectives. Always give one chance, then another chance, and another chance. At some point, they can no longer distinguish between kindness and excessive self-sacrifice. They think that enduring is loving. They think that patience is maturity. They think that constantly ignoring hurt is a sign of tolerance. But that's not true. Stoics have long understood that kindness doesn't mean allowing others to hurt you. You can be kind while maintaining boundaries. You can be tolerant while knowing when to say no. You can empathize without having to save everyone. Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself that you don't have to make yourself a victim to prove you're good. This is a lesson many people need to hear, because there's a huge difference between helping others and losing yourself to keep others around. And this is something that emotional manipulators never anticipate. They don't expect that one day you'll start to realize your own worth. They don't expect that you'll stop apologizing for things that aren't your fault. They don't expect that you'll stop over-explaining. They don't expect you to stop feeling responsible for all their emotions. And that's often when the entire balance of power begins to shift. This is where things start to get interesting, because when you stop participating in their game, emotional manipulators often become very unpredictable. Some will get angry, some will play the victim, some will suddenly become unusually kind. And that's the part that confuses many people the most. They wonder if the other person has really changed. But remember one thing. Someone who is losing control will usually try to regain it by any means possible. This is where you need to observe actions instead of words, because many people can make promises for days, weeks, or even months. But true habits always surface over time. Emotionally mature people take responsibility for their behavior. Emotional manipulators usually only take responsibility when they feel they are about to lose something. There's a very interesting paradox of life. The less you need others to feel valued, the stronger you become. This doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself. It doesn't mean you stop loving people. It just means you're no longer building your self-worth on the emotional foundations of others. Because that's an incredibly fragile foundation. Today they're happy, you're happy. Tomorrow they're upset, you worry. The day after tomorrow they're distant, you panic. That's not love. That's emotional dependence. The funny thing is, many people only realize this after years of exhaustion. They spend their youth trying to become the version others want them to be. They constantly adjust themselves to avoid disappointing someone. They become experts at reading other people's emotions, but become strangers to their own. And then one day they realize a truth that's both sad and liberating. No matter how hard they try, they can't heal someone who doesn't want to heal themselves. Stoics understand that we weren't born to save everyone. We are born to live up to our values. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do isn't to stay. Sometimes it's to take a step back. Sometimes it's to say no. Sometimes it's to stop trying to fix things that aren't your responsibility. Another thing that emotional manipulators never anticipate is your peace of mind, because so much of their power is built on chaos. If you're always anxious, they have an advantage. If you're always explaining, they have an advantage. If you're always feeling guilty, they have an advantage. But when you start to calm down, many of their tactics automatically fall apart. Not because you've won against them, but because you've stopped playing their game. Ultimately, the only thing emotional manipulators never anticipate isn't you becoming stronger than them. It's that you no longer need their validation to feel valued, because in that moment, they no longer held what they once used to control you. And perhaps the most thought-provoking question is, among those who exhaust you the most, how many truly care about you? And how many only care about the version of you they can easily control?